Well, hello everyone, and welcome today to this short review of the 2023 Subaru Legacy GT. This mid-size sedan has gone through its mid-cycle update with some noticeable changes on the exterior looks, but realistically, not all that much has changed. I was quite fond of the Subaru Legacy GT when I tried it out for the first time in this new generation, and that was around the time where all of this new Subaru interior design language and exterior design language really came to market. So at the time, I thought it was a pretty good setup. It wasn't the best in class, but it was pretty good. And my feelings towards this product are mostly the same now, but I don't think this mid-cycle refresh is interesting enough or significant enough to make it as competitive as the newest vehicles in this segment, primarily due to the road noise and the refinement of this car. With the Subaru Legacy GT, it has the 2.4 litre turbocharged flat 4 engine, so that means it has 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque, and as you should expect, comes standard with all-wheel drive. I find driving this car at any speed is noisier than what you would find in other products in this class, so much so that there's been a few times I've gone into this car, hit the buttons to try and close the windows or close the sunroof that I have here just covered now, so you could see me perhaps a little bit easier. That's how noisy it is in comparison to the Honda Accords, the Toyota Camrys, those kind of vehicles in this class. So that is a little bit unfortunate, and the engine itself I have found to be quite gravelly. Like I said, it's a turbocharged motor and it's paired with Subaru's in-house CVT, and the CVT does some of the tricks that we've seen in other Subarus and some other Honda CVTs where it's doing the fake gear shifting for you. This I don't think is as good as the Hondas, not by a long shot. Biggest issue I find using this engine though is that the turbocharger never really shows up until 3,000 RPM. So if you need to comfortably gain speed such as this, it will hold in the 2,000, 2.5, and get the job done. But the instant it hits the 3,000 marker, as I'm about to do now, then the power is unleashed. I would hope that that turbocharged torque could show up earlier in the rev range. You are able to change the throttle mappings in this vehicle, so you go from the I mode to the S mode, and that feels like it's solving the problem, but that's mostly just because it is revving up to 3 grand faster than what the I mode allows you to do. You'll actually see quite a noticeable shift when you use the S to the I mode, just in the tack needle, with the software telling it what RPM it should be revving at. You are able to fake control the gears on the CVT. There's 8 programmed gear sets, and you can do that here, but with the paddles behind the steering wheel or here on the shift lever. And truthfully, they do something. They feel like they do something, but this isn't a performance car. It's not trying to be, and this kind of a gimmick, in my mind, is nothing more than that, just a gimmick. The steering is quite light and fair amount of freedom on center. Road holding capability is great. I think the suspension is quite plush, and the brake feel is very, very lovely. So the driving dynamics are okay, but far from the best in class, and the issues pertaining to the road noise is unfortunate, because I do think this is a very well built car. The cabin doesn't give off any squeaks. All of the materials seem to be nicely padded if they aren't leathers. I think the seats are the MVP of this cabin. They're very supportive. They have this thigh extender piece, which, as anybody that's tall will tell you, is an incredibly valuable little addition. The back seats are huge, so I'm 6'4". I can easily sit behind myself, and this seems to be one of the most accommodable rear seats I've come across in a mid-size. The pockets behind the seat backs have multiple sections to them, so that's very convenient if you're loading this thing up to the brim with stuff. And the boot is gigantic with a little bit of storage underneath the false floor with addition to a space saver spare wheel. Unfortunately, the biggest turn-off that I have with this update of the Legacy GT is the looks. I don't think in any way this is a better looking car than the 2022 model that it replaces, and it has this odd red addition in the grille, and this isn't some kind of dealership install where they charge you an extra $200. This comes from the factory like this, and I really don't like it. I think it's quite juvenile for a car that might be for more of a mature audience. Just doesn't really make sense to me why it's there, especially as Subaru seems to be limiting its amount of playful options to people. They've killed off the WRX STI, it seems. You know, how long ago did they kill off the Impreza WRX or the WRX STI of the Impreza? So it's a little bit of mixed messaging from Subaru there, and personally it does bother me a little bit, and added on to the fact that I don't think the new face is any prettier than the one before it. The Legacy GT also gets these gunmetal grey 18-inch wheels, which to me look quite low rent. For this being the top trim model, I don't think the wheel size need to be bigger, but surely more aesthetically pleasing. I will say though that with the 11.6-inch touchscreen, even though a lot of people complain that they'd want hard buttons, and I'm one of those people, I find this system to be perhaps one of the best out there for quickly accessing what it is you want, because there really isn't a lot you can play around with this touchscreen. You've got your touch controls down there, you might change around the settings of your audio up here, and that's really kind of it. It's not the fastest to respond in its class, it's not the most pixel dense, it doesn't have the slickest animations, but in the cold winter days that I've had so far, it's been more than reliable of taking in my inputs. So there you go, quick spit out of my thoughts towards the new Subaru Legacy GT. A perfectly fine product, but with the exterior looks being a little bit questionable, and maybe some of the interior technology not being the best that the industry has to offer, I think you'd have to be really wanting a Subaru, maybe really wanting all-wheel drive. Yes, there aren't a ton of vehicles in this class that offer up all-wheel drive as an option. You'd probably need to be going to premium sedans to find that more commonly, but really, for this kind of price point, I think a lot of people would just be ending up in a compact crossover anyway. So Subaru Legacy GT, perfectly decent vehicle, well executed in terms of its overall mission, but hardly the most inspiring or the most interesting choice in its class. So thank you for taking the time to watching this short video, and I hope to see you again on my channel soon.